You can hear me okay, right?
Yep. Yep. And
Oh,
we're live. So everybody can hear you. Hi, everyone. Welcome to this is actually not Social Impact Level Up podcast tonight. We are here with our Elevate Her Worth brand. So, usually when I'm on LinkedIn and all of my platforms, we're doing the podcast. But today it's me and Ashley talking about Elevate Her Worth. So, I'm excited for everybody to be here. Whoever's joining us live, put comments in the chat. Let us know that you're here so we know that you are listening on whatever platform you're on. And, Ash, do you want to do a quick intro? And
yeah, for sure. So I'm assuming everybody know who you are. But I am Ashley Wynn Grimes. I am a nurse of 16 years, and Wendy and I partnered up. Just a year ago, we're celebrating our 1 year anniversary to develop the Elevate Her Worth brand. And we've done some really cool things over the past year, and I'm super excited. Generally, like some things to know about me if anybody cares. I'm a plant medicine nurse, I am a healer, I'm a Reiki practitioner. Wendy and I kind of bonded over tea and sound healing, ironically enough, and it's been a partnership ever since. So, yeah.
now I'm over here trying to load assets that I should have loaded before the live and make sure that we have our logo on here somewhere. But so we're talking about branding today. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Wendy. I'm an executive coach. I work with businesses and nonprofits to help them grow. And I only work with businesses and organizations that make an impact in the community. So what that looks like usually is working on some marketing,
Hmm.
working on the programming, and how does the money come in to do the work that we need to do. So all these different things coming together into the same spot. So branding becomes super important in that kind of stuff when you're looking at what is the organization's reach, how are they positioned, and what overall is the goal that they're trying to accomplish. And so we accidentally created a brand. Like, we didn't have any of those things planned out. We are
Yeah.
not talking about that in a framework tonight. Like, that's not what's happening. We're really giving you like the actual steps that we sort of took in accidentally creating a brand. And this is just a lesson for anybody who is out there thinking about, I need to pivot in my job right now. I need to position myself as an expert in something on LinkedIn. I
Mhm.
want to start a business and don't necessarily know where to start or how to monetize my skills. There's a lot of different reasons why one would want to create a brand. And I think for some of us who are serial entrepreneurs, we might have created several brands on purpose or accident. But overall, I'm curious, Ashley, like, how did you start even just branding your business or yourself when you were moving away from, nursing full time and doing kind of your own vibe, your own thing?
So I the branding aspect is a work in progress, and I feel like it's ever evolving, just like I'm ever evolving. And so mostly I vibe off of my personal brand, and my core values and what makes me me. And that's how I attract, right? Like, that's how I bring the people that I know are intended to be around me. It's so funny because, like, we did accidentally build this brand, but I feel like it was very intuitive. Like, we both knew that we, like, maybe we didn't say I want to build a brand with Elevate Her Worth, but we both knew we were building something. And so one of the first, like, conversations that we had were like around colors and like how to pick the colors and things along those lines. And making sure that it really integrated with both of our personal brands, and bringing that and creating one whole idea. So, I mean, I don't really have a like, it just is a work in progress. It always is, and it's always about aligning, and it's always about, like, developing and expanding and evolving, in real time. And so I feel like you and I have been very intentional about that process over the past year. What do you think?
I'm still looking for more assets to load to give examples of our brand. You know, I never took myself as someone who cared about branding too much. I mean, I know in my career, especially as a federal employee, I had my own brand, but it was just me just doing my own thing. I think I've always just sort of done my own thing, and people like know that about me. They're just like, "Oh no, that's just what you do, whatever." And so, maybe that's why like people are attracted to what I do because it's just like random.
Mhm.
But when we were thinking about this, for people who don't know the true origin story of this and what it is that we created, we we're sitting down as entrepreneurs to have an intimate conversation, woman to woman, about business, life, getting to know you, sisterhood. We didn't know it was going to be about all these things. We thought we were just going to like meet up and have tea and like
Yeah, we just want to have a good time. Like,
we had no idea what was going to happen, no expectation. But after doing it like 2 times, we were like, well, what if we like bottle this up and give this to other women? Like, how do you really create intentional synergy between women in business who aren't afraid to talk about things like price structures,
Mhm,
or more taboo topics like we talked about before, times of constriction, which a lot of businesses and a lot of people are feeling right now. And so the brand we were trying to create was really just a space for us to have more people like us come to us. There really wasn't a whole like, oh, we're gonna make money off this thing, or there's like a there's some kind of secret nefarious purpose. It was always about how do you bring people together in a community? How do you bring people together who have similar interests and could benefit from knowing each other? And then how do you create a space where you're going to do that in a fun, relaxing way? So it's not like gimmicky, networky, weird. It's
mhm,
also not like people shoving information and sales pitches down your throat, but really a place to genuinely connect. And
mhm,
that was the vision. That's what we've been able to create too, which is kind of cool. But when we were talking about colors and how to like get the right people to that, it was very much about like values aligned,
mhm,
on a spiritual journey, or has done some sort of healing, usually spiritually aligned businesses, or people who've gone through that journey personally,
mhm.
and people who are looking for like thriving and resting as much as they're looking for wealth and happy families.
Yeah, like
you know
balance, like actually
is
trying.
that possible? I don't
Yeah,
know.
right. And it's so cool because, I think that's where the authenticity comes in with this brand, and I think the other part of it was, when we connected, it was really cool because we didn't feel like, or at least I didn't feel like, there were too many opportunities to connect with other entrepreneurs who felt similarly to me, and that was seeking to achieve some version of balance. Like, not to say that you can achieve perfection or what balance is or however you define it, but we can always aspire for more. And so, like, that was kind of the vibe that we both gave, like, yeah, because these numbers, yeah, because these sales, yeah, because the landing page, and also all the woo woo that comes along with, just being us and in conversation. And so if we could multiply that, grow that, find other people who may feel similarly, I think that's how, we were trying to not only serve other people, but also, ultimately serving ourselves and being able to connect with other women entrepreneurs that are like us as well.
Yeah, we started out with this sort of self-serving purpose of wanting to have sisters, and then we kind of started attracting women, and it was interesting the way, like, kind of when you go from that concept of what does this brand mean to then what does it look like. When
Mhm.
we were talking to our designer, who is my former intern, Charlene, she came up with this really fun girly vibe. And this is like, when you think of girly pop, like this is actually girly pop, like so cheesy, good, but also just like really bold. And that was something that we wanted too. And she really took all of that into account and came up with this really pale pink and this really bold purple, which you see somehow we both ended up in purple on bread. And this is where kind of it started with the hearts and the bows and the things that are girly.
Yeah.
Um, and when we were talking about her and the word her, it was always, well, what does that really mean? Because like a woman or her, the concept of her means so many different things. But in our world, her means holistic energy reset. And
Mhm.
we were really intentional about these three words for this for this concept, because we wanted every experience to be a energetic reset for the people who participate, so that
Right.
when they move forward, they're not only able to take the network and the people and the experience, but they're also able to take whatever new version of themselves they need to step into where they're trying to go. And that transformation concept, like I think sometimes it's a little bit higher level, and Ashley and I are always trying to explain like, well, what is the holistic energy reset part about? But I think that's where when you come to one of our events, you then understand that concept because you've experienced it.
Yeah, it makes me think of at the Hollow Tea last year in November, when we did the dancing, the intuitive movement. And I think one of the participants' feedback was something along the lines of, "This is something I never knew I needed." Um, and so often I feel like we're bogged down with all the action items and the to-do items in our day. The next call, the next meeting. How can I convert this sale? And it gets very like mundane, and it can be hard on the body if we're constantly sitting in front of the computer, constantly working our brain. And to have those moments to, like, to let down and release and connect with other women, like-minded women, in a space where not only did we have some of those conversations, but we also let loose and just moved our bodies, intuitively, for no apparent reason at all, with little toys and gadgets, and made a bunch of noise, right? And so when I think of holistic energy reset, like, that was definitely a moment that I feel like embodied what we envisioned.
Yeah, yeah, and I'm trying to pull up one of the photos that, with the way that we've been able to build this brand too, we both intuitively put into it what comes to us, and I think that some people, especially if you're working by yourself, it's a little difficult, but we've been able to find balance with each other in, like, do we opposite ways to work, opposite ways to live, but we have so much fun, and we make it we make it work even though being opposites. But one of the things that I never thought would happen, especially not in Ashley's free flowing kind of style, was that we had this women's circle, and I just overlaid it over both of our heads. But we had this women's circle that came through in our Hello Tea event, and that was really about, not only women being able to break down barriers and see each other, but that preceded the dancing and the movement and all the other things. So breaking down the barriers, being able to hold space, being able to help guide the whole journey in the day that we're creating the space. There's not a lot of people that I would really trust that too, but somehow you and I intuitively found each other and had these skills that work together to be
Mhm.
able to do this thing and to hold, an event for people that can have speaking, can have food, can have, a photo corner with a skeleton, and all these different things around a theme that we just created out of nowhere. Like Halloween themed high tea, Hallow Tea, was just a random conversation we were having. Wouldn't it be cool? We like tea. How do we incorporate tea into this brand more? So, all of these things I think have been a really fun, inspiring journey, but people are with us when we're
Mhm.
having these little sidebar conversations, working out the kinks of, like, well, how do we do this? And where do we hold it? And what does it look like? And how does this play into the mix? Um, and so I think that's where people, helping them see behind the curtains is it's not just like, let us put a logo out there and do some Facebook ads. We really do go through a whole process to curate what is the brand experience.
Yeah, and I mean, to be honest with you, it's a messy experience. I would never want to give anybody a false idea that we both have it all together all the time. And though the opposite thing is a beautiful, beautiful concept, in that, like, we together have a larger palette of skills and abilities. Um, there has been some work that's been having to be done on both ends to be able to, connect those dots and fill in that puzzle piece in a way that to make something productive. And, I wouldn't take any of this journey back for anything. And I hope that, through our events, what people do get to experience, what we create, it really does refill people's cups. Because that, to me, is what makes going through this journey worth it more than anything. Just because so often women just don't have opportunities to fill their own cups and be productive at the same time. So yeah.
Well, especially if you're growing a business and balancing all the things we were mentioning. I mean, you probably barely have time to be strategic, let alone, be intentional about your networking and all those things. So we just try to take the lift off of some of that and say, okay, no, if you come into this space, you're going to find people that you need to know. you need to, there are people here for you. So giving people a fast forward to where we are. So now we're a year in. We've had two events. We had a spring retreat with some women where we dug in deep in their specific businesses and did some crystal wrapping, some releasing things. We went out into a patio and had a fun time. So all of that happened a year ago, actually, a year ago on the 14th. So coming up very soon.
Yeah.
And so now we've had that. We've had another event called Hello Tea that was more of a somewhat conference style, but like relaxed conference networking style with all the things I mentioned and Ashley mentioned, speakers, the panel, all the things. And that was just a completely different vibe, slightly bigger, but very much like still the same outcome of connecting women and getting them to connect to themselves. And now we're a year in and we were like, well, what do we do? What do we do next?
Yeah.
How do we keep going? So we decided to have a party for our 1 year anniversary. I don't know. Do you want to talk more about that, Ash?
Yeah, we plan to get together at Denison's brewery. And, honestly, it's just again about just connecting and networking and being with and celebrating the full cycle of evolution that Elevate Her Worth brand has brought to the table. And so, yeah, if you want to connect, please come out, connect. But that's essentially what it is that we're trying to create with this experience.
Yeah, and it's about almost half full now, so we still have a few seats left if you wanna come in. We don't, make our experiences very big, which I think is also like a goal to kinda keep it intimate and small and have people have, these authentic connections. So, it's at Denison's Brewing Company in Riverdale, Maryland on the 25th of April, so this
Yep.
month at 6:30 PM. So if you're in Maryland or watching us in the MoCo area, the DMV area, and you want to come as a woman in business and meet up with the other people who are going to be there, we would love to have you. So I guess a couple last things just to wrap it up, Ash. I think if we were going to do this over again, let's do like maybe one lesson learned. I would say the biggest lesson learned the first year was Facebook ads are dangerous.
Oh my god, that was so crazy.
I like anything I need to hire out is Facebook ads. Like, and I mean, I don't even know if I ever aspire to do them again in my life, but I see how they're effective. And the one thing I will say about branding with Facebook ads is we put out, actually, I think I have the stickers. So we put out some Facebook ads in our local area. So if you're not in the Montgomery County, Maryland area, and you're not a woman between 30 to 55, you probably didn't see it. But if you were last year, we probably targeted you. And we were looking to see how to connect with women who are into the things we're into,
Mhm.
health, healing, different types of, business, entrepreneur things, or personal development, those kinds of things. So those are the ways that we're like, going through the targeting process for developing these ads. So what happened, and we were talking about accidentally creating this brand, what happened was people started seeing that and thinking they knew what it was, but it was the first time they had seen it because we'd never put this brand out before. It was just created. So I had created these stickers and gave them to women in business. And a couple of them were giving them out to other people. They're like, oh, those are really cool. Yeah, I love what this stands for. Let me share it, or let me put it in my water bottle, or let me whatever. And so I started getting reports back that people were like recognizing the brand from the ads and seeing the sticker. And all of a sudden, people knew what it was. And I was like, but we haven't even had one event yet. So I don't know how you people know what this is. And
Mhm.
essentially, you don't. But I think that's the power of building a brand is like you can
It's
almost,
recognizable.
yeah, and it almost tricks people into thinking that they've seen it before or that it's something familiar
Mm.
if you've seen it 2 or 3 times. And so, the more that you can kinda get in front of people and have your branding, have your coloring and your logos and your things looking consistent, that people will start to recognize it, whether or not they know what it stands for, whether or not you know what it stands for.
For sure, for sure. One thing I love to do, we have these really cute mugs. I like to get on calls like this. I wish I had my mug today. And I'll just sit there and drink out my mug and what's that? What's that? You
I've
know?
got my Wendy mug, so I'm
Yes.
branding solo today with my mug, sorry.
But for me, I feel like it's kind of in the same vein around like target audience, like really understanding who our target audience and like what their pain points are. Any business coach that you ever go to always say, who's your target audience and what are the pain points, right? And this particular brand, I feel like, through our targeting, obviously we've gotten in front of quite a few people. But really understanding like who they are and what they stand for and like why they're motivated, because obviously, Wendy and I aren't, we have our own motivation that we kind of bring to the table, and so really exploring that and digging into that has been quite the experience as well.
Yeah, and I think that we're still trying to figure out what people's problem is. So if y'all have an opinion on what your problem is that you're
Right,
interested in this
right, right. Tell me your pain point, just make it easy for us.
I think well, I have my opinions on what I think we do for folks, but I obviously want to have people tell us in their own words what it means. That the other thing to know about what we've got going on is we are going to come back for a fall event. We're still in the works of planning that. We're looking at partnerships and sponsors right now. So if anyone is interested in working with a brand that niche focuses on women in business, please reach out to Ashley or I on whatever the platform is that you choose, but ideally LinkedIn for me. And we'll be able to give you more information about that and who this group is that we reach. If you are a woman in the DC area and you want to maybe come to brunch with us in the summer, and that is what is coming next after this anniversary experience. So meet us at Denison's for a Friday night out drink with the ladies, and then you can meet us for brunch in Baltimore in June, I believe,
I
Ashley.
think, we didn't choose a date yet, but we
No,
coming.
no, we did. We had the reservation already.
Oh,
We're good.
cool. Yep, this summer.
At Wicked Sisters, is that what it's
Yes,
called? Yeah.
yes.
So we will be at Wicked Sisters for a small, small boutique event with I think about 6 ladies.
Mhm.
So more to come, and more ways for us to connect, and just looking forward to seeing anyone who wants to join us.
For sure.
All right. Bye, Ash. Have a good night.
See ya.